Howdy, partner. I just want to wait to I like to just see how long I can stretch that start for the
Well,
dramatic
I'm never
pause.
going to be the one to say it, so it just
I'm maybe one day I'm always going to give you the opportunity to say it.
I don't think I'd say howdy partner.
Howdy,
It's
partner.
not my brand.
It's a
I'd be like,
yeah.
one of the things that I used to say, or the thing that I used to say on the happiest podcast on earth was "Hola," and so that's probably what I jump
Hola and
into.
howdy, partner. There you go. Put it on a t-shirt.
Accurately represents us.
Yeah. But anyways, we're the theme park guys. Welcome. I forgot we're doing a show. But yeah, we're the theme park guys. Today we are talking about Knott's Berry Farm. I learned that the inflection is important there. It's not Knott's Berry Farm. It's Knott's Berry Farm. We had the pleasure of visiting when we were in California. We did not have a full day. We had precisely 4 hours. Do we have 4 hours? 4 hours of park time.
Yeah. The park opened at 11, and then we left
11 to
at
2.
oh yeah, so it was
3
3
hours.
hours. Yeah.
Hey, and we saw it all. We saw it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to be talking Knott's Berry Farm. We just saw our vlog. If you haven't caught that, that went up yesterday. I would like to just start this episode off by apologizing for getting the fried chicken fingers for the fried chicken dinner. I understand that is immediately going to be a point of contention, and we will discuss that at further length.
Tragic.
In my defense, I thought it was the same thing, just without the bones, and it was just in tender form. Because in Texas we have Babe's chicken, and Babe's chicken tenders are the same as Babe's fried chicken, and it's interchangeable. These were frozen chicken tenders, and I felt very bad as soon as I opened the box. But so I still haven't to this day had the famous Knott's fried chicken.
I don't remember if it's on camera because full transparency, I haven't edited that vlog yet. But I don't remember if my reaction was I legitimately was like, "Did you order the chicken tenders?" Like I was like, "Hunter, this is literally Tyson fried chicken." Like what have we done?
I think we could have cooked it at home, but we
Sorry.
make mistakes.
You live and you learn.
We'll
next
be back
time
one day.
Yeah.
Next time
You have a pass now, so
we'll get the legit fried chicken, and I have a pass now. So I also made the impulse buy as we were leaving. I'm like, maybe I'll just get my annual pass here. So we did that too.
yeah.
But yeah, Knott's Berry Farm. Listen in. We're gonna go. Let's do some news first.
All right.
Or hey, how you doing? I don't know. News. Hey, how you doing? We're gonna get there.
We can jump into news.
All right.
So it has been a while since we have talked. We obviously last week, the episode was all about Peppa Pig. So thank you guys for listening and supporting that episode. That was a big one for us. That was pretty cool. Peppa Pig theme park, shout out. They hosted both of us at both parks. And it was a lot of fun. It was really cool. My boys have been talking about Peppa Pig theme park since then, especially Ethan. And now he wants to watch Peppa Pig all of the time. So it's a thing in our household.
Bash also watched his first episode of Peppa Pig the morning of before we went.
Yeah.
And then he was asking for it the week after as well.
Yeah.
So
It's in their brains. They
he's
had
a
good
believer
time.
now.
Yeah.
Peppa Pig believer.
But yeah, so that's exciting. Just a couple things. We won't spend a long time on news today. There has been a lot of things happening, a lot of announcements going on. We'll start off with... I kind of want to start off with Epic Universe because there's been a lot of bustle around Epic Universe. A lot of team members, so team member previews are happening right now. Mm-hmm. And a lot of team members have been able to go, and we're starting to see pictures out of Epic Universe. The only pictures that we're seeing at this point are photos of, like, their official photos from Universal. So almost like photo
We're seeing
pass.
some photos that we're supposed to see and some photos that we're not supposed to see.
Well, there have definitely been some people that have invited friends to come, or even the team members themselves that have posted things that, they're definitely not supposed to, which is kind of sad because their jobs are at stake for that. So,
which Universal is very secretive, and even in Texas, at Universal Kids, they're being very extremely secretive.
Yeah.
Just kind of like a fun sidebar, I guess. So I work in construction in North Texas, and we are building the hotel, and we have a construction organization that hosts a meeting every month, and we do job walks at feature projects throughout the year, and we wanted to do one at Universal Kids, but they're like, well, we want to wait until it's officially announced because they're being very secretive about like all the IP and stuff that's going to be in the parks. Like they're really like, no, we don't want anyone in there that's not, stamped and approved by us, which I understand.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal, but Universal takes it serious.
No, absolutely. And they're being very serious with the news surrounding Epic Universe, which makes sense. It's a big deal. First theme park in Orlando in 20 something years. So it's going to be exciting. I was at the opening of Universal Terra Luna today, which is one of the new resorts. So there's a sister resort to it, which is Stella Nova. They're basically the same thing, different storytelling within the resort.
So like different finishes?
Yeah.
Or like, okay.
Stella Nova is more like the galaxies. You're more like in space at that point. Terra Luna is also space themed, but it's like you're on a new planet. So it has more earth tones inside of it. And it's a little bit of a different feel. Very similar, like all of the rooms are the same. You have 2 queen beds.
So you'd consider it like all-star movies and all-star music.
Yeah, it's a prime value resort. Like in their categories of resorts, it's prime value, which would be the equivalent of a value resort at Walt Disney World.
Are the doors on the outside? Is it?
No.
Okay, so it's like Art of Animation
it's like a hotel
style?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, doors are inside hallways.
Okay, that's good.
The third floor in both resorts have like a special hallway. In my opinion, Stella Nova's third floor hallway is cooler because it has
like a feater hallway. Like
kind of. There's
like
stars
the star ceilings and stuff.
Yeah,
oh.
But it's only on the third floor. But there are not stars in Terra Luna, which a little bit of a letdown. So, but the food is good. We ate pretty much everything at the cafe today. And drinks are good. They've got a bar and grill outside by the pool. They've got a bar inside of the lobby. And just the team members were super excited, and it's just fun. They had characters greeting some of the trolls. Some of the guys from Men in Black were there. And yeah, it was, overall, it's very exciting. And the coolest part is one of our friends had a room. So it's kind of interesting. You have 2 room types. All of the rooms have 2 queen beds. No rooms have kings. There's not suites. It's just standard 2 queen beds, standard hotel rooms in every single room at both resorts. But you can book a pool view or a standard view. Well, the pool view obviously is of the pool, but it's nice. If you're up on a higher floor, you can kind of see out. You're facing the direction of actually Walt Disney World, so you can see, like, this is way off in the distance, but you can see things like Disney Springs or EPCOT, that kind of thing. Again, it's really far away. So
need binoculars.
Yeah,
a telescope.
You're not very close, but what is cool is that if you book a standard view, which is actually slightly less expensive than the pool view, you're actually seeing Epic Universe, which is pretty wild that they're not labeling those as theme park views. I feel like that could happen eventually, that they could make those changes. But the views of Epic Universe from both Stella Nova and Terra Luna are pretty sweet. It's not like, you're seeing a lot of backstage, so it's not like, I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like looking behind Galaxy's Edge. If you guys have ever driven onto Disney property and seen behind like the spires, it's not magical, but I think that it's a huge opportunity because there's supposed to be a fireworks show at Epic Universe, and they've actually already done some testing for it. So if you're sitting in your hotel room and you can watch fireworks and you booked the cheaper version of the rooms, I think that's a huge win. So there's a little tidbit of information for everybody, but yeah, it's pretty cool. It was exciting, and just the energy is real. You drive right past Epic Universe and just kind of seeing all of the construction finishing up for that. They're finishing all the roads around it. It's really coming together, and a lot of people have been inside of the park. I know, like, personal friends that have been inside and had such a great experience. So we're getting closer and closer. It's pretty surreal.
If you're staying at Stella Nova or Terra Luna, are you walking in through the park at Grand Helios, or are you using the main entrance?
I actually don't know yet. There is a pathway from Stella Nova to Epic, but I think it takes you into the main entrance. Okay. I think that Helios Grand is going to be like that entrance will be for guests.
Specifically that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're going to want to probably keep that as exclusive as possible.
Yeah, like a Grand Californian kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Although I'm sure that there'll be an opportunity if you're visiting the park and you wanted to go into the resort, just like, I don't know, have a meal or something like that based on the restaurants that are in there. I'm sure that could be an option for you as well. But I'm also heard, specifically today, I talked to some team members that were working at the hotel today who had been into Epic Universe, and they said that the food at Isle of Berk is incredible, and they said the burger in Dark Universe is outstanding. So I'm excited.
All right.
Yep, things are moving along. I don't know still when the first time I'll be at Epic is, but I think it's coming very soon. So I'm getting excited. Yeah.
Hint, hint.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know. For me, I don't know.
You'll
We'll
have
see.
to come down soon and use that pass.
I will. I will have to.
We're getting closer. Cool. We're getting closer and closer.
What is opening date?
May 22nd.
Oh, I quizzed you there. You passed.
No, that day is circled on the calendar. I have 2 days circled on the calendar right now, and it's May 22nd and June 24th.
There you go.
One is more important to me than the other for sure, but both are big dates coming. So. Zoe's birthday will be more important than Epic Universe. So.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for clarifying.
But yeah, so.
All right.
So yeah, there's a lot of news, I guess you could say, coming out
Stuff's
of
popping
Epic
up
Universe.
left and right.
And it'll continue to be that way until
time.
there'll be media previews happening very soon. So we'll be getting a lot of coverage coming out of those previews. So
Yep.
A couple other notes. Walt Disney World announced details surrounding the new lounge that's supposed to be connected to Spaceship Earth. It is called Geo 82, and it will offer reservations to guests 21 and older when it opens this year, which is an interesting move. Obviously, of all the parks that could pull off a space that is for people 21 and older, it would be Epcot. I think Epcot is geared. I mean, it has stuff for the kids for sure, but it is definitely the park that more adults go to. So.
Yeah. It's interesting. Geo 82. We got Steakhouse 71. We've got Geo 82. I wonder what's next.
Kind of a nod to the opening there. So
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's exciting. I think it'll be cool. I'm sure it'll be interesting to experience it. I'm sure that I'll go cover it at some point for work. So, I don't know. I think it's interesting that it's an adult only space. It feels a little more. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. I just hope that because people at Epcot, people who visit Epcot who take advantage of drinking around the world can get rowdy, a little too rowdy sometimes. And so I hope that they respect
Put that into
this
a
space.
21 and up space. Then
Yeah. It'll be interesting. So, but I think the concept fascinates me, and I'm sure it seems very luxurious, and so I think they're wanting a more elevated space.
So are we talking like Space 220 lounge? Like, it's obviously going to be hard to get into. It's not going to be like
I don't think it's going to be
Rose and Crown where people just kind of funnel in, funnel out. It's going to be more like
no, you have to have a reservation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know where it is, right? You know where it's going.
No.
So there's I don't know.
Somewhere inside the ball.
No, well, kind of. I'm going to be terrible at describing the specific location. I just know where I can see it. Like if you're standing at Walt's Dreamer statue and you look towards Spaceship Earth.
That's a bad explanation for me because I was like, isn't this where Walt Dreamer statue is? And you're like, heck no, it's over there. And I'm like, I'm so turned around with new Epcot.
The old fountain. If you're standing at the old fountain.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And you look over at Spaceship Earth.
At the Pin Trader kiosk. Yeah.
If you look up and then there's there's these big windows that sort of overlook and look out towards World Showcase. It's above what is the play area down there that you exit out of?
Some discovery area, yeah. No, I'm aware. Okay.
It's above that space.
Interesting. I wonder where what was there before?
I want to say it was some sort of lounge before.
Like one of those corporate
something like that.
Where they do hosting people who are sponsoring rides and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
there's a lot of those hidden little areas at Epcot that are interesting.
Yeah, I think all over Walt Disney World they have very specific
little
hidden
secret
areas.
hangouts.
That's how Club 33 at Hollywood Studios was
It's
developed.
converted one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's exciting. Coco 2 got announced, which will probably have theme park implications at some point.
Maybe.
I'm excited. I build upon the story by all means. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah.
I talked about
Kind
it.
of wrapped itself up a little bit. So,
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's still.
is it going to be another Dia de los Muertos? Like, is it going to be like the following year, or is it going to be like something in between?
I don't know how they could do it and not go to the land of the dead.
It has to be, right?
Because of all the family members that are there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe people have speculated maybe it's about his younger brother. I think he had a younger brother in the movie. A lot of commentary about the movie being named Coco and Coco no longer being with us. But like,
Yeah, Mama Coco.
technically she is. She's just she's in the land of the dead. So.
She'll be in that part of the story.
Which
instead
really
of
we could
the other
then
part of the
maybe
story.
get to know. The whole movie is named after someone that we barely got to know at all. The whole movie's about Miguel, not Coco. So maybe we learn more about Coco now. That could
Okay.
be cool. Maybe it's a movie in her POV. We'll see.
Very interesting.
Call me Pixar.
I like Call it Pixar.
It's-
It's not like they haven't developed this movie already. It's
Well,
already
it's
in
currently in development, and it's not going to
Oh,
run
really?
in theaters. They said until 2029. So,
Oh my god!
but then they removed that from their official announcement. So there's no telling when this movie.
It's gonna take longer. Oh, never mind. I was just gonna say it's gonna take longer to make Coco 2 from announcement than it is to build a new theme park for Epic Universe, which is crazy when you think about it.
Yeah,
Just
but there's. I mean, if you
2029.
think about the amount of detail that goes into making an animated feature, I would argue that it's similar to building.
they're
a
in
theme park.
development for a long. They're in development for a long time.
Yeah.
That I will say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A similar experience is building an animated movie and building a theme park. So, not in terms
Maybe
of
we can be the animated movie guys.
no. I don't
Doesn't
think
have the same ring.
we
to
don't
it.
qualify for that. So
No, I don't watch enough of them.
yeah. There was a fire at Epcot. I'm sure everybody's heard of it.
Gasp.
Even my mother-in-law texted me and was like, "Was there a fire at Epcot?" And I said, "Yeah, but it was super contained." And she was like, "Oh." She's like, "I saw it on the news, and it made it seem like it was a much bigger deal." Than
It looked
sounded
really
actually
bad.
was. Well,
like,
the smoke
I saw
looked.
the POV of
Yeah.
someone from the Skyliner, and I just honestly I saw like that one video, and I was like, oh wow, and then I didn't like really look into it, but like it looked pretty bad, and
Yeah,
it
the-
looked like it was on the World Showcase, not necessarily backstage, just because the way that
Right.
Paris, the pavilion looks, you're like, that is right there. But I guess it was just tucked away backstage. But
Yeah. I mean, again, it was a cooler backstage caught on fire. No one was injured. It was extinguished pretty quickly. But yeah, it definitely
for the
created.
ice cream
I
place
don't know.
in Paris.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably, honestly,
It
It's
created
right
a lot
about
of
where it
smoke,
was.
though, for sure. So that's alarming. And I'm
was
glad
scary.
everybody's okay. Big announcement: the Jonas Brothers are recording the song for Disneyland's 70th anniversary. I am so excited about this. I'm a big Jonas Brothers fan. So
Custom song, like just from scratch, or like
it's called "Celebrate Happy." I'm sure that like Disney has a lot of say in this song for sure. So they're probably just recording.
they're
it.
like, "Hey, Jonas Brothers, here's the words, sing it."
Please, yeah, well, for sure, yeah. But I mean, what an honor to be able to do that for a band that like Disney's been such a quintessential part of their history. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's exciting. Super pumped. I'm bummed because I don't think I'll be in California obviously when all of these things happen, and like I bet they'll be around, and that makes me sad that I'm going to miss the opportunity to meet the Jonas Brothers. So
you have a habit of meeting people. I mean, I'm sure if you go to D23 or something, they'll be
oh, that would be
maybe
sick.
present at one of them.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
D23 is the place to meet people.
Yeah,
And-
that's on
and
my bucket list.
Just hang out in Nick's pocket, and
Meet
as
the
he walks
Jonas
around
Brothers.
D23, there are people that walk by that I don't even know who they are, and he's just like, "That's that person. That's that person. Let's go." And I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, I
Interesting.
like to say hello to people.
You do. I do not.
I feel like
I'm
this
I
happened
like
to
to look
me-
at them from a distance and be like, "I saw them once." But
It happened
yeah.
to me recently. I can't think of what the situation was.
You did inspire me though, because like that happened, and this is obviously a side story of when we were at D23, but that happened where you were like seeing people left and right and taking a selfie or like just saying, "Hey, I love all the stuff you do," and having like at length conversations with these people, and I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, you're talking to this person. You're having a back and forth conversation. So then you were shopping, as you do, in a merch location. And then I was like, I am done in this shop. I don't want to buy anything. And I went and waited outside. And Jon Favreau walks by. And I'm like, all right, there he is. And he was 30 feet away walking towards me. And he's like, I am in the path. What do I do? So I start fumbling for my phone. Camera app's not working. I start walking next to him. Can I take a selfie? And I probably wouldn't have. I probably would have just stared at him and walked by and just been like, hi. But funny. I was like, seize the moment.
You never know
Take a selfie.
How meeting a random person like that. I mean, obviously, Jon Favreau is probably not going to turn into a situation like what I'm about to describe. But one of the guys from The Bachelor, he was on The Bachelorette years ago. And Francie and I used to watch that show all the time when we first got married. We don't watch it anymore. But this guy was on The Bachelorette. He ended up getting married to a girl who was on The Bachelor. They met in Bachelor in Paradise. I was in Dallas. I was downtown. I was at the JFK Museum and walked outside, and he was standing on the grassy knoll shooting like promo for something. And I looked over and I was like, oh, I was like, that's Jared. And I walked over and was like, hey man, I was like, watched your season. My wife and I are a big fan of yours, like, and your wives. Like, it's so cool to see like how your lives were affected by the show. We started talking. He's from Boston, or he's from I think not Boston, but he's like a New England fan. Mm-hmm. And at the time Brady was playing for the Bucks, or had just retired with the Bucks. So we started talking about that, and we started talking about I don't know how we got into the subject of Disney, but we brought it up. Oh, I was wearing a Mickey shirt, I think. We started talking about Disney, and I was like, yeah, you got to bring the fam to Walt Disney World. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. And then I told him that I had an Instagram account where I like cover theme park content. And so he followed me, and I followed him back, and then we would DM each other. He would like reply to my stories.
Are you saying me and Jon Favreau aren't ever going to be friends because we met once?
Probably
Is that what
not.
You're trying to say?
Yeah, I don't think this is a very different level of fame than Jon Favreau and Jared from The Bachelor are not the same. So, but yeah, but it was cool because I say all that to say, we exchanged numbers, and he was at the parks this weekend with his family and then a couple of other contestants from the show. And we met up at Hollywood Studios and talked for a little while, and it was cool. It was like, but that never would have happened had I not ambushed his filming. When I say filming, he was shooting promo, but it was just like him and a camera guy and a couple other people. It wasn't like this full set that I just like walked up on or anything like that. But
Interesting.
Yeah, you never know. You never know, like, how talking to somebody can affect your future. So
could be, yeah. You could be in the next Marvel movie. You never know.
Kevin Feige and I besties for life. So
there you go. There's another one.
I didn't really talk to Kevin Feige. Actually,
no, you did the thing where I was gonna do with John, where you're just like, he's near me.
Oh no, but I did talk to him because I turned around and was like, Kevin, I hate to do this to you, but can I please take a selfie? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. And then he like leaned in and we took a selfie, and then he presented the award to Harrison Ford, and I was like, that's my best friend up there. Look at him doing big things.
I have a connection to Harrison Ford, but
yeah.
I'll keep that in my pocket.
Yeah, keep that private.
I still haven't met him, but
yeah, that's cool. DVC got a new lounge at Magic Kingdom. It's themed to the land that it exists in, Frontierland. It looks really cool. I think they did a great job with it.
Yeah. Mom, if you're listening, get me in sometime. 'Cause DVC don't work like that. Only I can't get in.
I know that I saw pictures or a video yesterday, of one of the Country Bears was in visiting the DVC guests. So it's pretty cool. But no, I think that's awesome. I personally, I don't know that I'll ever get to go. So it's like
DVC lounges are interesting because I mean you have like the snacks and the what are they called? The Coke Freestyle machine.
Yeah. Which I wish that they would have those, because at Universal they have freestyle machines throughout the parks. I wish Disney would do that too.
Like that you get yourself. Mm-hmm. How?
Well,
do they have like a chip in the cup that like is a one fill or something like that?
So you can get a refillable cup at Universal and like
if
pay
they catch you
for the activation
going without
for
a
the
refillable
day.
cup or sticking your head under that.
Well, it doesn't work. It has like the chip at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It won't work unless you have the chip, and then you can buy a cup at like the snack carts and stuff like that you can use to go fill it.
I gotcha. So, what's your Coke Freestyle drink of choice?
I don't drink Coke or soda, so I get AHA lemon lime sparkling water.
Aha.
Yeah,
What is
it's almost like LaCroix or
Okay. Do you put like a little like syrup in it, or like
No.
you get like lemonade with like a dash of blueberry, or like?
no.
Oh no,
No.
it's a freestyle machine, man.
I know.
You gotta.
I don't
you gotta
take it.
get creative.
I love that I can go up to a soda machine at the park and get soda water. Like soda water is my jam.
Oh yeah,
That's why I
without-
love.
Just you have the water tab and then the soda water tab. Yeah.
Well, not soda water tab. That's why you get AHA, because AHA's the soda water.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, I mean, I think that people who do the flavor combos are cool.
I have this weird. It's not weird. Maybe it is weird. I don't know. I'm saying it's weird too many times, but it's. I like myself a nice vanilla Coke.
Yeah.
And some people do, some people don't. But I don't
think
know
that's
why.
weird.
But ever
they
since
like
I was
literally
like,
made vanilla Coke a thing.
well, I know, but like it's whenever you get it from the freestyle machine, like, But I've only tried it a handful of times. Like I used to have it religiously. Like when I was in middle school, high school, I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting the vanilla Coke because you go to like a Wendy's or something, and they always like had that deal in there. And I was, yeah. Anyways,
I remember I haven't had
Fun.
soda. I was talking about this today with my coworkers. I haven't had soda. I've had one Coke in 15 years. I had my freshman year. Yeah, my freshman year of college. We, me and my roommates, we had like a challenge for each other. It was second semester of my freshman year, and we were like, let's go this entire semester without drinking any soda. And then they also were like, and sweet tea, because they were from Kentucky and North Carolina, and that was like the nectar of the gods to them. For me, I was like, I can go for the rest of my life.
I don't think
drinking
I've drank sweet
sweet
tea
tea.
in the last 10 years.
Which that's weird because I feel like Texans.
I don't like
probably-
tea.
No,
I
okay.
just
Yeah.
tea is like, bleh. I don't know.
I don't mind tea. I especially like it mixed with lemonade. Like that's my go-to. A nice Arnold Palmer. But
Isn't that a Sunjoy at Chick-fil-A? Isn't that what
yeah,
that? Yeah.
yeah.
I've gotten a reward for a Sunjoy. They're like, come get a free Sunjoy on us. And I'm like, oh, that looks delicious. And then I
Yeah.
see it's unsweet tea and lemonade. I'm like,
Oh, that's my jam. I love it so much. But but yeah, so I came back to my dorm room 2 weeks later, and they both had giant sweet teas, and I was like, you guys suck. Like you have no willpower.
They gave up.
Yeah, whatsoever. And so I was like, oh, I'm gonna finish it, because when I put my mind to something, I'm like, game on. And so I went the rest of the semester, didn't have it, and then I was like, might as well go the rest of the year. So I finished that year. That was 2010. And I haven't had it since. And the only time that I had a Coke was I was on a missions trip in Colombia, and Francie and I were there. We had just gotten married, and we were staying at an orphanage, and there was a guy who worked at the orphanage who had grown up there. So like once he was like old enough to leave, he had nowhere really else to go, and so he decided to just like, he was like, can I just stay here and work? And it was awesome because he was so close with a lot of the kids that were there. It was all boys. And so we had to go get ice. This was in a little bit of like a rural area in Colombia. We had to go get ice. And so we took a moped. I was like on the back of the moped that he was driving to go pick up the ice. We went down these like dirt roads in the middle of nowhere in Colombia. We were outside of a big city called Cartagena. And we get to this gas station. He goes inside to buy the ice, and he walks out with 2 glass bottles of Coke. And I was like, I'm not going to be this like spoiled person.
No, I don't drink
Actually,
this.
I don't drink soda. This guy like used his personal money to buy me a bottle of Coca-Cola, and that's so that like I chugged it, and it was so good. Like it was so.
So what if I used my personal money and I gift you a Coca-Cola?
I'd be like, no, don't do that.
It's not as meaningful as a story.
You have more.
You're,
You have more expendable income than he did.
I
so.
will say, you saying you've only had a few in 15 years, like you have a very meaningful story behind each. I was expecting like one was like, yeah, we just had an extra in the fridge, and
No.
I just decided, yeah, just go for it.
No, I figured that was the only time that I was like, I can only justify drinking a Coke right now. But it was really tasty, and it was like, you know, the glass bottle Cokes in a different country, they hit different. So,
Yeah. Look at us, little DVC lounge to Coke Freestyle to crazy
Tangent.
stories. So, which brings us to candidate number 1 for question of the week. What is your Coke Freestyle? How do you do it?
We'll
Vanilla
revisit
Coke
that.
for me.
That may be it, based off of our conversation on Knott's. So.
I'm making a note here. Didn't see a Coke Freestyle machine in Knott's, but that's okay.
Speaking of Knott's, we can jump right into
Are we into Knott's now?
Yeah, I don't have
Okay.
any other major news pieces. I'm sure
All
other
right.
things have happened, but
Okay. Knott's Berry Farm. So it is very it has a history to it, okay? I'm gonna take us through by no means an all-encompassing backstory or history, but I just want to hit the bullet points. I want us to have a little knowledge of where did Knott's Berry Farm come from, and then we can get into our experience. Which again, we had 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. I had a flight to catch, but we walked. Looking at the park map here, we walked. I'd say 85% of the pathways in the park. We missed the western entrance, which I didn't know that there's a main entrance and a western entrance.
interesting.
When we went to the cemetery, the Tombstone Cemetery area, and saw that roller coaster, if you go further back that way, there's a western entrance with a river rapids ride, which it was a little chilly that day, so we didn't want to do any water rides, which is okay. So, Knott's Berry Farm history. Here we go. I'm going to take us through it, and then we're going to talk about it after. There's going to be a lot of things we can talk about as we're going through this, but I'm just going to hit us with the history, and then we'll go into our experience. So, history. Walter Knott. Is it a coincidence that Walt's like starting theme parks? I don't know. You tell me. But Walter Knott and cousin Jim Preston started a berry farm in December of 1920. That is the inception of Knott's Berry Farm. Not yet called Knott's Berry Farm. In fact, it was called in 1927 once he established it into a more permanent berry market facility, Knott's Berry Place. Knott's Berry Place. So we're in 1927, before Disneyland was even a thought, you know, 1927.
Yeah.
Where was Mickey Mouse? Was that 23? Was that the 100 years of?
No, that was 100 years of the company. So
okay, so 23. So
yeah.
Knott's Berry Farm older than the Walt Disney Company. Look at that. 1920 when it started. Official brick and mortar berry market in 1927. It had a market, a plant nursery, and a tea room run by Walter's wife, Cordelia. Again, named Knott's Berry Place. The arrival of the experimental boysenberry, which is I'm gonna hit on like the quote unquote lore things of Knott's Berry Farm. Like there's a few things when you think Knott's Berry Farms, like there's the boysenberry, there's the fried chicken, and there's this. It's like this is going to kind of be the inception of those. So boysenberry, created by Rudolph Boysen and cultivated by Walter Knott on his farm. That was in 1934. So 7 years after he's been running his berry market, he came across this mythical boysenberry that Rudolph Boysen was kind of testing. He ended up going to him, asking him about it. He was like, so what is this berry all about? He's like, I don't know. I think I might have some old stuff at my farm if you want to go check it out. Walt brings it back, puts it on his farm, cultivates it. Boom. It explodes. So that all happened. Now, we are in Great Depression area here, or time period here. Cordelia, Walt's wife, made the first fried chicken dinners in June of 1934 during the Great Depression, selling 8 of them for 65 cents a piece. 65 cents a piece. So that started the great fried chicken boom at Knott's Berry Place. And basically, the little tea room they had, so they had the market, the plant nursery, and the tea room. That little tea room grew gradually into a 300-person dining hall, and people were waiting over 3 hours by the year 1939 to get their piece of fried chicken from Knott's Berry Place. So, Walter Knott, being the opportunist that he is, said, hold on a minute, they're waiting 3 hours for fried chicken, we need to give them something to do. So, that's what set the theme park in motion. In 1940, Walter constructed an Old West ghost town, which is part of the park, the ghost town land in the park, which is honestly the most prominent themed area in the park. It seems like it's the largest area. It has the most streets. In terms of acreage, it's definitely the largest. But the Old West ghost town established in 1940, and then in 1947, 7 years later, it is officially changed to Knott's Berry Farm, established as the name. And then by 1960 is when we have pretty much the main first attractions being the Calico Mine Ride and the Timber Mountain Log Ride, which are both pretty much center punched right in the park at the end of the ghost town. Today, there are 37 current rides in 2025 over 6 lands. And more recent history in July 1st or on July 1st of 2024, Knott's Berry Farm, along with all of Cedar Fair's properties, were acquired by the Six Flags Entertainment Corporation, which brings us where we are today. I obviously skipped a lot between 1960 and 2025, but that is kind of 1960 is where you had the Calico Mine Ride, which we had the opportunity to do, and the Timber Mountain Log Ride, which we did not have the opportunity to do, not because we didn't want to. One of us wanted to, one of us didn't want to, but luckily the water was shut down because it was a little cold. So, but that would have been so cool to be able to do those two, because those were like the two. Yeah. Which as we were getting recommendations for what to do at Knott's Berry Farm, people were like, you got to do the Calico Mine Ride, and we agree. Which also, the Calico Mine Ride is the first hidden switchback queue attraction, which obviously is something that's used in pretty much every Disney Universal attraction. It's like, it was the first time they actually integrated it into the theming of the ride, which you get major Big Thunder Mountain vibes when you're looking at the Calico Mine Train, which, as we know, Walt Disney had been to Knott's Berry Farm before creating Disneyland. May have been inspired, may have taken a little bit here or there. You can definitely grab a couple things and say, I can see where that was maybe perfected. But that's where we are today.
For sure, I think that, like, even the mine attraction was released in 1960, and we talked about this while we were in the park, but I don't think that we had seen, or they had seen, an attraction with that many animatronics, because there's literally animatronics around every corner. And I'm sure that Walt rode that and was like, I want this in my park too.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because not long after that, unfortunately he passed away. Yeah. Not long after that, but also he did a lot of work on Pirates of the Caribbean. And so I feel like, obviously it's not Western themed, but in terms of storytelling and having animatronics, so many of them in an attraction, I definitely think that the mining attraction probably influenced that quite a bit.
You can tell he perfected like the linear storytelling and stuff like that. Whereas the Calico Mine Ride was kind of like, okay, let's go into an active mine. I don't think it necessarily had like a flow of events. Like, you go in and you see people mining, and then by the time you leave, you're seeing people mining. It's not like this happened. It's just there's something happening around every corner. By the way, that history all is from Knott's Berry Farm's website. So if you want to, there's a whole bunch more information. I'm just hitting the bullet points. If you want to stop and go read about it, you can. It's on Knott's Berry Farm. Just look up history of Knott's Berry Farm. It's like a blog post that they had that they laid out the whole thing.
It's cool.
That aside, which is interesting, because where we went in, I personally went in not knowing barely anything about Knott's Berry Farm. We kind of went in blind. Did a little bit of research of like, what attractions do we need to do? But in terms of the history, I was unaware of the history when we got there. And I even asked someone as we were about to leave, I was like, hey, so where do you get this fried chicken? And he's like, well, actually, it's outside of the park. And I was like, no way, really? Okay. Yeah. So you can kind of see where that little strip was, where the restaurant is, and how it's in proximity to the ghost town. Like, that used to be like a free walk around kind of deal before it established itself as a theme park. And you can kind of see all of that come together when you're there. Like we said at the start, got the chicken tenders. My bad. Next time we'll do it a little bit different. I understand. We made a mistake. It is what it is.
I'm not worried about it.
We had a flight to catch. I
haven't been thinking about it. You had a flight to catch.
Yeah. I've been thinking about it a lot, honestly. Like,
really?
That's
sad. You should let it go.
I wish I got the fried chicken.
I was talking to someone, because someone asked me, they were like, oh, did you get the fried chicken? And I was like, no.
We got some type of fried chicken.
I got chicken tendies that I could have gotten at Disneyland. That would have probably been better than the chicken tenders.
Yeah, and that's not. Yeah, the fried chicken at Knott's may be very delicious, and we just didn't have it. But we got the sides. I had some mashed potatoes.
They were really good mashed potatoes, and there was a biscuits that were tasty.
They were tasty.
They were better than
If-
the biscuits that I made at home this past weekend for sure. But
If we had to do it again, I'd say let's go just have a seat at that restaurant and really take our time.
Yeah, I think like having a full day at Knott's
Yeah.
also would make the difference, not 3 hours. So
We tried to blitz it, which we did do. But we did a good little
Yeah.
chunk of attractions. We
it was a
did
very quiet day that day. Like there was not a lot of people at the park at all. It was a random
It was
Monday.
Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, it was a Monday in the middle of the week, or not middle of the week, but Monday, middle of the day.
It wasn't spring break. It wasn't.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just kind of like, yeah. If you were there and you were a kid, you were probably skipping school.
Yeah, which I think that there were some. So.
Yes, definitely. But yeah, no, we started off to the recommendation of the lady checking us in at the front gates. She said, head straight on over to Ghost Rider. And we were like, okay. So we rope dropped Ghost Rider, and I enjoyed it. Yeah. It's a wooden coaster. It's not as old as you think it is. In fact, let me look up opening date here. Let's see, not opening date.
It was.
It opened in 1998, which I think I thought in my head it's like, oh, this has been here since the 70s. Like it's themed well,
Yeah.
And there's just always something about a classic wooden coaster. But yeah, December 8th, 1998 was the opening date.
Yeah.
It had a complete track refurbishment in 2016, so it might have been a little bumpier before.
Yeah.
But
I really enjoyed that coaster as well. Thought it was like perfectly thrilling, but just fun. It was like a good time.
yeah,
So
yeah, you're not going on it to be transported to another world necessarily. It's just an exhilarating experience. Which the queue obviously Ghost Rider tied into the ghost town. You walked into a cave to get into the queue. There are elements that definitely were cohesive and all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, I thought it was a good time. One thing, this is where I had the realization, which this is the first non-Disney Universal park that I have set foot in since probably Silver Dollar City last year, and then other than that, probably 10 years since.
Yeah.
So this was very much like I expect to do things the way we do them at Disney or something like that. So you know me, bringing my GoPro and hand in my hand, they're like, sir, that ain't gonna fly here. You need to put that in a cubby. So this is where I learned that okay, there are rules, and a lot of Six Flags, Cedar Fair, Knott's Berry Farm, Carowinds, all these places are absolutely no filming, no GoPros, no phones,
for safety reasons.
For safety reasons,
Yeah.
yes. So
But
that was one thing that. Note to self.
You were definitely
learning.
frustrated at that information, and
I thought we were gonna do
gonna
do on ride, talking through the ride, and all kinds of stuff. But
I was like,
does
oh
not
no,
happen.
how is this gonna go? Like it was like a level of frustration where you were like,
yeah.
like as soon as we were
They
sitting
told
down,
me, and I was like, okay. And then all of the ideas that I had of us
I
doing, like,
watched your
let's
excitement
answer
crumble.
15 questions.
But
as
it
we
came
ride through
right
this
back
ride.
with that attraction. So, like
Yeah.
you were feeling down as we were going up the lift, and then after
And then I
the
started
ride,
getting scared because we started getting a little high, and then we started going down. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I got over it. I got
brought you
over it
back.
fast.
It brought you back. Yeah.
I just had a list of things in my head that I expected we'd do in terms of like, getting to goof around and film and talk and do interviews on rides or capture our experience. But it's okay.
Yeah.
That's why we talk about it here.
Yeah.
So note to self: can't film on rides. That's a thing in most places other than Universal and Disney. Which
I mean, even Universal and Disney.
Universal is strict on it with lockers, stuff like that. But Disney is, I mean,
for the most
been
part, but
pretty
there are some
lenient.
attractions that they don't want you to do that on. Like I know Space Mountain now, they tell you not to film on at
Really?
Walt Disney World. Yeah.
Okay.
So there are certain ones at Disney now that they're like,
I did my college program in 2015, and that was the Wild West.
well, yeah. things
Selfie
changed.
sticks were allowed on rides for a
Right.
little bit.
Yeah.
Like it was getting crazy
Yeah.
for a while.
There's a
so-
reason that those things are no longer allowed.
Well, yeah, I understand, but it was they did not care.
Right.
But
We
yeah,
did film on the mine train or the
we did, and we asked. We said,
Yeah.
"Can we? Can
Yeah.
we?" And they're
which
like,
that was one that
Of
there
course.
should be no reason why we couldn't film on that.
We had no restraints.
Well, that was weird. That is a weird part of that ride, is that you have no restraints.
We're
And
talking
also-
about the Calico Mine Train, which
Yeah.
is one of the oldest attractions in the park.
And you're in literal mine carts, basically, in the
It
back.
felt like a legit mine cart.
It felt like a
Yeah.
pony ride, like a hay ride, at like a fair or something.
Yeah.
Which obviously it was like an actual ride. It wasn't on hay. But
Yeah.
you are getting, like, there's a conductor at the front, and he's like taking you around like an actual person working. And then Hunter and I were the only two people on the entire ride at that point. And so we were in this like cart, and you go up a lift at one point. And
A lift is it's an incline, and
Sure.
that train is chugging.
yeah, but I
It's
had
literally
nothing to
just
hold
a
on to. I
locomotive.
literally I would have had to have
No.
really braced myself at
Yeah.
the top of that cart. I just slid right into Hunter.
I couldn't imagine that being like six packed in those carts.
No, that's
like,
what
as soon
I'm
as you hit
saying.
those hills, everyone's sliding.
Yeah, I can't picture those carts being full of people and what that would be like. What an experience. You would just be piled on top of each other. Because
No.
you have no restraint whatsoever. I mean, not that it's dangerous. Like, I don't think
It's not. It goes 4
Very
miles an hour,
slow. Yeah,
maybe.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I could walk faster than we were going.
Probably
it's just
so.
it's a dark ride. It
Yeah.
takes you around.
fun.
But yeah, it's definitely neat. One thing that I did notice, or I'll save this. I'll save this for a little bit later. But okay, so we did Ghost Rider. We explored Ghost Town a little bit,
which is
this-
also an incredibly well themed
Yeah.
area of the park.
There's a ton of shops. Like
Yeah.
it's not just like blank storefronts. It's like most of those buildings are functional shops, other types of deals going
the
on.
details, like in the storefronts, though, in the window displays outside, it is
Yeah.
very detailed, and it is done really well. It is more detailed than Frontierland at Walt Disney
Yeah.
World or Disney.
Well, Ghost Town to Knott's Berry Farm is Main Street USA to Disneyland. Like
Yeah.
that's where that was the inception. That is where most of the time was spent. Like that was what he wanted to design, and that's the whole park kind of came out from that pretty
Right.
much. So it is definitely the most expansive land, which we walked kind of zigzagged in and out. I got a lemonade.
I did. It
in
was very
Ghost Town.
tasty. I love a theme park lemonade.
Yeah, and then you met Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
He was just on one of the front porches.
Not just me. We met him together.
We met him together. You talked me into it because you like meeting characters. So,
Yes, I do love that.
but yeah, and then we found ourselves kind of like wandering the streets of Ghost Town a little bit, and we came across the tomb, the graveyard, and it was there's you can kind of like walk into like back alleys, and it was probably because it was a Monday and there weren't a lot of people there, but it just felt very private. Like there was a lot of detail hidden around corners and places that most people wouldn't see. So
Yeah.
if you're going to Knott's Berry Farm, don't be afraid to wander around Ghost Town a little bit. It's kind of an attraction in and of itself.
We had
And
some
it's got
fun
the character.
interactions with like the employees and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like an employee on the back of a train yelling at us in the cemetery. And we're like, what is going on here?
But I mean, like yelling at us in a fun, like interactive sort of.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the story, like
Yeah,
oh Ned didn't make it out of there, ha ha.
Yeah,
And
we
we're
were
like,
standing at the
okay,
tombstones. Yeah,
yeah,
it was good.
yep. So we didn't ride the train. If we had more time, that would have probably been a good one to do. We didn't do the Pony Express, which is the other roller coaster in Ghost Town, which was another one of the first there, kind of after Calico Mine Train and the Timberline ride. So we did do Calico. We thought about doing Timberline, but it was shut down with water. So we made our way through Charleston Circle, is what it was called. That's where they had like, what would you describe that time period? It had the Johnny Rockets. Was it the 60s?
Yeah, it's
It's
giving
like a
'cause that-
1960s kind of like kind of like your town square in the 1960s. It had the theater, had the Johnny Rockets, all that kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Which in and of itself, it was a pretty good little themed area.
Yeah,
honestly,
no, I thought it was great.
it's to this point at Knott's Berry Farm, we are thinking theme park all the way. We're not thinking amusement park here.
Right, I still am thinking theme park.
Okay.
Go on.
I'm still thinking theme park too. But then we made our way to the boardwalk, which got a little amusement parky, but Boardwalk at Knott's, it reminds me of Pixar Pier. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, there's roller coasters, and it's designed to be the quote unquote boardwalk with the rides and attractions and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
It's like a boardwalk
But
theme park. I mean,
Yeah.
amusement park. It's
Yeah.
a boardwalk amusement park in the middle of a theme park.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is going to be a question as old as time for the
Yeah.
podcast.
It's a
of
land.
a theme park with a land themed around an amusement park. But you know, it is what it is. So the boardwalk is where it got a little interesting for us.
Yeah, I
Two
think immediate
intense
fear-
attractions. Yeah, two intense coasters reside in the boardwalk, and one not so intense, but rather painful. So we saw 3 attractions: Coast Rider, Hang Time, and the Accelerator. We decided to step up one to the next to the next. So we started on Coast Rider, which was the Wild Mouse ride for the park, which was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah.
A little painful.
They have an
It was
attraction
tight.
like this at Legoland here in Florida, and I think it's the exact same track.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd like to verify this. What was the attraction name?
Mm,
Legoland, Florida?
Yeah. I'm not going to remember specifically, but when we were riding this, I was like, this feels oddly familiar. Little drop at the end. All of it was very similar for sure. So,
Really?
um,
But I feel like you can say that about all wild mouse rides.
yeah.
Can't you?
I don't know. I would say Goofy's Sky School is definitely.
Well, that was unique. But I think when I ride Goofy Sky School, I always feel like this is Primeval World.
Yeah,
It just
it
doesn't
could be.
spin.
They could have been the same things.
Right?
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, all of them are similar in terms of like they zigzag. But I do think that Legoland Florida's and this attraction could be essentially the same. Also, that reminds me of another piece of news that broke today about Legoland Florida. They announced that they have an indoor
the
coaster.
indoor. Yeah, I saw that. It's going to be
Yeah.
huge.
Can't wait. I'm excited.
Mac rides. I'm doing a research Coast Rider ride.
Well, while he's talking about that,
Manufacturer.
we can talk about what came after this. We were. Oh,
Okay.
do they have the same manufacturer?
Mac rides built both of them.
There you go.
Okay, we might be onto something here.
Oh dear. The excitement.
What a discovery we've made. And this is just from you being like, oh, you know what? It kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Like a lot of these companies that build these coasters do. A lot
Yeah,
of the
they
coasters
sell them
in all
to
of the parks.
each one.
Yeah. So
It's the same height. 52 feet.
I'm telling you, it felt very familiar.
It's the same one. That's crazy. Okay. Wow. Okay. Coast Rider and the Great Lego Race
There it is.
are the same attraction.
So my boys would love this because they love
What
the
a
Great
dis-
Lego Race. They
What a
would ride that.
discovery we've made. This
over
is
and over.
amazing. I feel like a detective.
Hot tip: that ride gets a long line at Legoland sometimes. So
Really?
go at the end of the day for sure.
A lot of the lines for us at Knott's Berry Farm were not long at all.
No, which again goes back to I think like the time of
Yeah.
that we were there. I don't like on the weekends. I'm sure it's busier for sure. But yeah,
Yeah, you just in a place like this, you don't expect like Disneyland, California Adventure, Disney Parks, Universal Parks. Any day of the week, you're gonna be packed.
busy. Yeah,
Hitting a place like Knott's Berry Farm, like if you're going to Disneyland and you're like, I want to do Knott's Berry Farm on a day, pick a midweek day. Don't pick a Saturday because you'll get the most bang for your buck if you go on a Monday,
yeah.
Tuesday.
I mean,
that
we
kind of
don't
thing.
know because we've never been on the weekend, but I'd imagine that a lot of local people go on the weekends to these places. So
Yeah, for sure. So we started with Coast Rider, which we now know resides in Legoland. That was fine. We're like, okay, we got this. So we stepped up to Hang Time.
and it was quite the step up.
Yeah, yeah. This one was pretty intense.
Hunter
so, like,
was very nervous about this attraction, which
So this
rightly
was-
so.
yeah, and this was a step up from anything you see at Universal, even like Disney definitely, but even Universal wise in terms of ride intensity. It's one that had a vertical lift. Like, what ride has the vertical lift at Universal?
Rip Ride Rocket.
Rip Ride Rocket has
now.
the vertical lift,
Yeah.
but Rip Ride Rocket doesn't have the negative dive, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one lets you dangle a little little too long, which I did not like that at all. I'd be okay with this if it just sent you down, but it's one of those where it gets you to the top, turns you over, and then kind of like stalls you out. So you're just left arms hanging, legs hanging, and your feet can't touch the ground.
Yeah.
I also didn't like that either. I really didn't like that.
There's an attraction like that at Busch Gardens. It's called
Oh my
Sheikra.
gosh.
Yeah.
Were they the same ride manufacturer?
No.
I'm
Sheikra.
gonna check. No, I'm just
Sheikra has a drop, and I would say I think it's 200 feet up in the air. It is very tall, and that drop, it's like an inverted drop as well, a little bit of an inverted angle. But anyways, yeah, the climb, hated every second of it. It was too much for my fear of heights. But
Yeah.
I feel safe in a coaster though. Like even dangling, I felt okay. Like I was like, this is interesting. Everybody looks like ants like down there.
oh, you're just blissfully unaware. You're just like, wow. You're like the Swedish chef up there.
I think like my biggest fear is that like something's gonna drop, like one of my personal belongings is gonna drop, but that's not an issue because you put everything in a locker.
Your pockets.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So,
all right, good.
So that's probably why I was somewhat okay. And then the coaster happened, and there's a lot of twisting, a lot of turning,
A lot of inversions. Yeah.
It's definitely like it's called hang time. It's a reference to like surfing. So it's like you're hitting the barrel, and it's definitely like it's simulating a wave almost for you. And that it does. But I think the biggest moment was the very end. I looked over at Hunter, and he was pale as a ghost. Like I was nervous that he was going to pass out because I was like, buddy, I need you to breathe. Like I need you to like breathe.
Oh, it wasn't that bad, was I?
Oh yeah, you were pretty pasty. So I have like a
Hold on, was I it looked like this? So turn my white balance off.
I have an on-ride photo, but the sun is hitting us, so you can't like really tell because it just looks like Hunter's being like washed by the sun.
Oh, I just look like no, that's my actual skin tone. I'm just pale white.
No, but
I don't. Yeah, I get that's a fear attraction.
Yeah,
is
it's okay.
how I would
it's
categorize
okay for people
that.
for you to be scared of it. It's fine.
I was scared of it, but I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'd do it. In the moment, I probably would never do it again. If we ended up going back to the park, I'm like, all right,
yeah,
let's try it again.
I would do it again. I would have done it again then and there.
No. Well, we didn't, but we made our way over to the accelerator, which we thought to ourselves, okay, Coast Rider, least intense, hang time, a little bit more intense, accelerator. Most intense, and it was intense.
Yeah,
and it's just a let me slap you in the face launch coaster. Like it's 0 to 8. I think it was like 80 miles an hour, something like that.
Yeah,
very fast.
It was
hurt.
It was just like unnecessary. Like my chest hurt, not like in a oh my gosh, were you having a heart attack kind of way, but just like from the G's pressing on my chest once we took off, and then you go up this massive hill. And then straight back down, and it's basically just a loop, and then you're.
I enjoyed
back.
the swooping turn. I liked the high speed, like swoopiness, like after you go up and down the initial hill. But yeah, hang time had more of an art to it, where it was like, let me scare you and really like give you all these Joji moments. This one was just
story
like
without telling a story.
Yeah, this one just said,
shoot you out, and then
go.
But you like it. There just
it
wasn't
stopped
much,
you just as fast.
Yeah,
too.
there wasn't much substance to it. It just was like just an accelerator, quite literally.
Yeah.
That does remind me. Quick note: I have a friend who went to.
I thought you were about to say another coaster.
No.
Okay.
But I do have a friend that went to Epic Universe, and like the Stardust coaster, I think that's what it's called. Is the one of the obviously everything is new at Epic Universe, but it's in Celestial Park, and it's a double launch coaster, and this person is someone that I trust very well when it comes to theme parks. And they said that this is the best ride, the best coaster that they've ever been on. And they've been on a lot of coasters. And they also said that it was very intense. Like it was way more intense than they thought it was going to be. It's a double launch coaster. So I'm like, I'm a little nervous for this one now at Epic Universe. I can't
But
wait.
it doesn't get like super high,
It
does it?
does.
Oh,
Yeah.
it does. Oh,
Yeah, it's a
I
tall
guess I haven't
coaster.
seen those pictures.
No, it's one of the landmarks that sticks out the highest at Epic Universe for
Okay.
sure. So
I guess I was thinking of the Isle of Burke coaster where it's like swoopy and low to the ground. But
no,
okay.
yeah, this one is yellow and it's
Yeah.
very tall. So
All right.
it's gonna be interesting. But anyways, Accelerator.
Is it accelerator intense?
I don't ever feel the need to do Accelerator again. Not because I'm scared of it, although I was a little like nervous going into it for sure. But it just feels unnecessary to me. Like
Yeah, accelerator is like a drop tower for me. It's like you do it and you're like, I'm good.
yeah. I would do it like I'm sure that
But it
if
was
I
still-
took Luke to the park, he'd be like, "I want to do that. Let's go." And I'd be like, "Okay." Like now I got to do
It's
it.
fun. It's. I had fun. I had more fun on accelerator than I did on hang time,
Yeah, I disagree.
and
But
we
I mean,
vice versa. But like again, it was intensity. But all right, so we had our little coaster blitz there.
we're done.
Yeah, and then we ended up kind of walking around a little bit. We went to the Fiesta Village. We did one more coaster, which was kind of a spur of the moment one. Which one was it? Pantera?
It was like in the temple with the
Jaguar.
Yeah.
Yes. So I recalled, and we were walking, and I saw the temple, and I saw the placard with the name Jaguar on it, and my mind flashed to the top 10 article of attractions at Knott's Berry Farm that I read the night before, and I was like, wait a minute, that was somewhere on there. Let's do that one. And then we went on that one, and it was pretty basic. It was pretty basic, but it was okay. You enter into a temple, and yeah,
Yeah.
I have not much to report.
It's more. I would say it's probably the coaster that was most designed for kids that we rode.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of kids can handle that coaster.
It's a my first coaster kind of
yeah,
coaster.
but longer. Like it was a long.
It was really long
coaster,
yes.
but not like the least intense coaster that we rode that day for sure.
Yeah. It was also one of the rougher ones that we rode, but it is one of like the more not old. Oh, it is old, but one of the more historical attractions in there. But yeah, so we did that. We did not ride, which I did push a little bit for this, but we also short on time. The Silver Bullet, which was the hanging coaster, which
I don't remember you pushing for that. We had to go.
we had to go to.
Yeah.
I was maybe pushing my own mind. I was like, I want to do it, but we don't.
Because I would have been like, all right.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
Well, never mind then. But instead of going that way, we walked through Camp Snoopy, which gave off California Adventure vibes.
Yeah,
like
a little bit.
The national park, the yellow like kind of
I thought it was
redwood
cute.
forest area.
Cool little area for kiddos.
Yeah.
They had
yeah.
like miniature versions of attractions there, similar to like some of the attractions at Peppa Pig theme park.
Yeah. Which they had that also that Grizzly Creek Lodge, which was a pretty cool little building.
It was a restaurant.
Yeah, it was a restaurant. It looked like it was a hotel. But I just like the theming overall of Camp Snoopy. I think it was fine, and they incorporated obviously Snoopy. We didn't talk about this. Snoopy is the quote unquote mascot. The Peanuts are the mascot of Knott's Berry Farm.
They're like
They're
the
present
featured
everywhere.
characters. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and a lot
kinda
of
like
smaller
how-
parks will do that. Like
Yeah.
some parks will have
Six Flags has the Looney Tunes. They've got the Peanuts and so on. But yeah.
they don't have
So-
a specific like IP because they're not a studio, so they find an
Yeah.
IP that they can
Associate with.
to have character interaction.
But yeah, we were ride heavy. We didn't do any shows. We were obviously a little limited on time, but we were ride heavy, and we wanted to walk around and kind of at least see everything. Like walking through Camp Snoopy, didn't do any attractions in there. Walked through Fiesta Village, only did a Jaguar. But yeah, I feel like we overall got a good little sampling of Knott's Berry Farm.
Yeah.
Which for us, not being from California and I say not going there often. That's like, I've gone to Disneyland more times than Disney World in the past 2.5 years, but still, I just never find myself going up to Knott's Berry Farm. So that was a cool little unique experience to do. It's been a while since I've had a new theme park experience. So
Yeah, totally.
I enjoyed it. One thing I did notice, and this is what I said I'd save till the end after we got through all the attractions. There weren't a lot of people in the park, but I will say a huge difference of a place like a Six Flags or a Knott's Berry Farm from a Disney or Universal is ride efficiency, because we found ourselves like looking at a line and being like, oh, cool, there's 10 people in line. We'll be in no time.
Yeah.
But a lot of these coasters either run one train,
Yeah.
or their unload and load sequence takes probably 5 to 8 minutes. Like the rides aren't cycling through as many people, which definitely I don't and being what I recall from Six Flags, it's a lot like that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just comes.
I think that's something
that's
specifically that you pay attention to as well, because you did that in your DCP. Like
we were cycling. Yeah. I could get 10 times the amount of people through Winnie the Pooh than I can through Ghost Rider.
I don't always necessarily pay attention to that. I'm just kind of da, 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 da.
But that's where you appreciate like especially at Disney coaster attractions, the separation of the unload zone and then it stages to go to the load zone. Like just by doing that, it cuts it way down.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's something I definitely caught on to, where you're waiting in a line, and if I'm thinking Disney parks mindset and I'm looking ahead of me and I see 100 people in front of me, it's like, okay, we're going to be on in 10 minutes. But if you see 100 people, it might be 45 minutes at like Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Because like that line got long and we were like, okay, that line's long. And someone's like, yeah, that's a 2-hour line. But that looked more like a 30-minute line for another attraction.
It's like Walt Disney World.
Yeah. So just be careful. That's where it could get you. And you could be like, oh, it's a short wait. Well, it takes a long time to cycle through on some of these coasters. And they're older coasters, too, in some of these older rides where they didn't have 3 or 4 trains and all of the technology up to date. But yeah.
Yeah, and because they make you empty a lot of things, you have to
you have to step through,
walk through the ride vehicle, empty things into the cubbies on the other side, which that tends to take a little bit longer. Yeah. Whereas you ride something like Tron or Velocicoaster at Universal, and you're putting things in lockers before you're even close to getting onto that attraction. So they found ways to condense time for that for sure.
Was it Accelerator that I made us wait for the front row?
I don't think so, because we weren't in the front row.
No, we didn't wait for the front row. We thought about it. Okay.
Yeah.
But like you looked at the front row and there were 6 people there, but then you think it's like, okay, that's 6 trains, and it takes 8 minutes for each train to go through, and it's like that's actually a longer time than it.
I think we were in the front row for Ghost Rider, but we didn't wait for it. It was very
we just asked for it because we were there pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, yeah, there you go. And then we went and ate some fried chicken and hopped in our Lyft and headed to the airport.
Yeah.
Fried chicken fingers.
You did. And then I went and I worked at DCA the rest of the day.
Yeah. Oh, I did. Well, we did. I got my annual pass since Knott's has been acquired by Six Flags. Now the All Parks pass that I can use at my local Six Flags over Texas is now a Knott's Berry Farm card. So cool little Easter egg. I hope that Six Flags Entertainment doesn't sell Knott's, and then they all of a sudden say, oh, that annual pass you bought at Knott's is now only good at Knott's.
Right.
But we'll see, because they're talking about Six Flags selling off some of these parks. But I don't think Knott's would be one of those. Knott's, it's a pretty high-profile park. So, but yeah, there you go.
It was a great day. It was cool. It was fun to be able to experience a new park. We had a good time together, and it was good. One
of many. We need to keep a map. Or something.
We did buy T-shirts that we were supposed to wear for this episode, and I'm just now realizing that neither of us are doing that. But we bought
Texas T-shirts.
We bought matching T-shirts. Also, speaking of Texas, I want to acknowledge something. I made comments on a recent episode where I said, no, I'm saying this. Dallas-Fort Worth is not a vacation destination. Listen, I was not trying to be insulting when I said that. I
took offense, sir.
I don't think you did, but I know that people that live in the DFW area did, and I truly was not trying to be offensive at all by saying that, and I apologize to anybody that I offended. I also recognize and realize that Texans are very proud of Texas. I have a lot of friends that live in Texas, and so I apologize for anybody that I insulted in that way. But like I was comparing in my mind DFW to Orlando. Obviously, one is a major vacation destination. Like in terms of the people that travel and visit as tourists to DFW comparatively to Orlando, obviously there's one that is way more popular than the other. But that being said, I recognize that there's a lot of fun things to do in the DFW area. I've been 4 times. I've been to DFW 4 times. a lot of that was on work trips, but I got to go do touristy things. Specifically in Dallas, though, there's not a ton of touristy things to do. Like,
Yeah, there is the JFK Museum.
that's what I've done both times that I've gone. So,
Yeah, we've got Meow Wolf. We're gonna have a new.
no, I think it's awesome, and I think that area has grown a ton. DFW is, I mean, it's wild to see how different it is every time that I go back out there. I've gone down to Waco. I've flown into Dallas and driven from Dallas down to Waco before. So I've done a lot of things in that area. But yeah, I just wanted to say sorry if I offended you. I was not trying to be offensive. I also I think was dogging on Hunter in that episode, and
Yeah.
so sorry for anything that I did to offend you. I don't think
Just
you
so
were...
everybody knows, me and Nick like to pick on each other.
Yeah, one more than the other.
Anything that
and
he
that's not
says,
me.
Nick can't hurt me. Just
Okay.
so everybody knows.
Stop. That's not true. But yeah,
I'm invincible. Anyways,
that's not true.
speaking of DFW being a vacation destination, North Richland Hills is a vacation destination not only because of Peppa Pig theme park DFW in North Richland Hills, but also the announcement. This is my theme park news. Malibu Jack's is opening a new location. You know Malibu Jack's? You been?
Never heard.
Oh, darn! It's a indoor. It's branded as an indoor theme park. They're turning in an at home. Like the home goods store. They're turning it into a Malibu Jack's. 200,000 square feet.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's exciting.
It's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah.
They've got laser tag, a roller coaster, go karts, bowling.
So it's an amusement park, not a theme
It's in the title. It says theme park.
park. Oh.
So if someone self-proclaims they are a theme park,
I don't think that based on our standards they're not, but you'll
I
have
don't
to
know.
go and report
when
back.
they open, it's literally 2 minutes away.
I did get a
so.
random email this week from a very random theme park, not even the theme park, the town, and more on this in the future. But the town,
You got emailed by a town?
yeah, invited me and the fam out to come experience all that the town has to offer. Sometimes they'll do this, like sometimes certain towns, like places like, and this is not the town that we got invited to go, but like places like St. Petersburg, Florida, will invite people out, and it's like a visit St. Pete situation where they're like,
Well, it's like Grapevine, Texas, the Christmas capital of America.
sure, yeah, and they want you to come experience some of the different things that town has to offer. And so yeah, got invited by a town, and there's a theme park in the town. So TB,
Maybe they'll give you a key to the city.
I don't think so. Not this city.
Yeah.
Francie has been to this theme park though, so let your
Okay.
minds wonder where that could be. But yeah,
Maybe they'll give her a key to the city.
maybe. I'm excited though. It sounds like a fun little like weekend
Is
getaway.
this a top secret thing, or are you not going to?
Well, it's still in development. Like I
Oh.
don't have like official things to report.
You don't want to
back
spill
on.
the beans too early.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be embarrassing if they say, "Nah, fam." We're good."
I mean, like, it's more so whether it'll fit our schedule and whether
Okay.
pregnant Francie wants to travel to this town and sit around
Yeah.
the theme park. So
All right.
Stay
All right.
tuned.
Well, we're gonna be covering towns. There's no limit. Is it a town, a theme park, or an amusement park? That's gonna be the next question. Speaking of questions,
I think we stick with
our
the one,
question of the week is: what is your Coke freestyle? How do you Coke freestyle? Hashtag not sponsored by Coke.
Is anybody else out there an AHA fan? Probably not.
I have no idea what AHA is.
Yeah.
I think of a Yahoo. I thought you were literally saying you like a sparkling chocolate milk.
Ugh, that's sick.
And I was like, that's disgusting.
Yeah, that's
But it's definitely a freestyle.
Yeah.
That is freestyle if I've ever heard of one. Is sparkling chocolate milk. But yeah. What's your favorite combination? And no, don't just say, oh, I like to get everything and do the brown bubbling water that's every
Are you
flavor
Coke
imaginable.
or Pepsi?
Coke.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I don't have a strong opinion on the matter considering my history now, but
I
back
get
in the-
upset when it's not Coke. Like when I go to, I have a bone to pick with Buc-ee's because they have Buc-ee's cola, and I'm like, I just want to go in and get an 89-cent fountain drink and it be a nice Coca-Cola or a frozen. I like a frozen
Is
Coke.
there a huge difference in taste between Buc-ee's
Yes.
cola and a Coca-Cola?
I mean, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
it's more so.
No, this
my,
is like a thing. People are either Team Pepsi or Team Coke, and they
it's
do.
like a
they
brand
get mad.
thing where
Yeah.
where you're just like if I don't see it, I ain't getting it. So
When I was a drinker, I used to
a soda drinker.
I used to like
Yeah.
I used to like Pepsi products, a lot of them. Like I remember as a kid, Pepsi Blue was one of my favorite things in the world. But
Well, you know something funny
gone
about
now.
Dr. Pepper, because Dr. Pepper is its own independent bottling company, or not bottling company, but independent company. But there's Dr. Pepper bottled by Coke and Dr. Pepper bottled by Pepsi, and that's the two bottle shapes where one is like the cylinder towards the bottom that goes to a cone on the top, and the other one is more like the Pepsi bottle where it's like more slender. But one of those is a Dr. Pepper Pepsi and one's a Dr. Pepper Coke, and they taste a little different. So,
do they?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Just so you know.
Fascinating.
Also, another thing you can do if you visit DFW, you can take a trip to Dublin, Texas. And go to the old Dr. Pepper bottling plant, which actually isn't associated with Dr. Pepper anymore, unfortunately. There's a whole ordeal in and of itself. But
There you go.
anyways,
I just need to plan a trip to DFW at some point.
you do. You should come see me, and then we'll do a theme park tour or just a touristy tour.
Yeah.
A tour. They just call it a tour. A touristy tour.
Yeah. No, that'd be cool.
We'll go to some barbecue places, go to some theme parks. It'll be when Malibu Jack's is open. We can go there.
Sounds good.
And then we can. I just messed up my hair.
Hopefully, I'll travel out there eventually for.
Universal Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll do Six Flags Over Texas, drive down to San Antonio, Fiesta, Texas, stop in New Braunfels, go to Schlitterbahn.
Yeah.
We can go to Kalahari. That's another one in Round Rock, world's largest indoor water park. There's, you know what?
All kinds of fun. Texas
Who needs
things.
Orlando? We got the I-35 corridor. So, represent. All right,
I
how do
love
you?
my Orlando? But
All right, question of the week again. How do y'all Coke freestyle? What's your order? What do you do? We are the theme park guys. We just talked about Knott's Berry Farm. And yeah, any final thoughts before we go?
I love you, Dallas. Appreciate you so much as a city. No, but really, like truly,
Thank you,
I
everyone,
think Dallas is a great city. I've always enjoyed my time there. So, great people in Texas. I mean that. I'm being serious.
Oh man! All right, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're a fan of Texas now.
No, I legitimately did not mean
I'm
to
glad
offend.
that you've
offend
turned
anyone
from
in
being a
Texas.
Texas hater into a Texas
I've never been a
lover.
Texas hater. No.
Oh,
No, I've never hated Texas. Been
All right.
going there since I was a kid.
no. All right. Well, we're excited to have you back. You're officially welcome back now. You were on the blacklist. You were on the not allowed to enter the border, but we'll let you back in. It's
Great.
okay. I'll vouch for you if they turn you away at DFW Airport.
Thank you.
I'll come pick you up. But
All right.
all right, everyone. Knott's Berry Farm. It's been real. What's going to be next? Silver Dollar City's coming up this summer.
Yeah.
Universal Kids next year. Universal Epic Universe later
Epic
this
Universe. Yeah.
summer. I don't know. Maybe some surprise theme parks, but this was Knott's
Who
Berry
knows?
Farm.
Might end up at a theme park in a random town this summer. TBD.
Might. I want to do the thing where you throw a dart and we pick the closest theme park.
Like Mary Kate and Ashley.
Yeah,
That's what I think of.
I don't know Mary Kate and Ashley, but yeah. But yeah, that's
Did you ever
that's where
watch Mary
I'm-
Kate and Ashley when you were little?
No,
Probably
my
not.
sister did, and
That doesn't mean that you didn't.
I might have sat. I don't
Yeah,
know. I
so
can't
you
remember.
did. You're
I
just
can
like,
neither
"Ooh."
confirm nor deny.
Yeah.
I don't know if I played Nancy Drew either. I just, it was just there. But anyways,
Oh,
I like
God
our
forbid.
sidebars, but we should probably end this now.
Sounds good. I have a lot. To do.
Rewind. What do you do? Coke freestyle. Maybe we'll get to the end. This
They've got
time.
it. They got the question. We don't
Do
have
you
to
know
recap
the
it.
question?
No.
Hold on. I'm going to repeat it one more
No,
time.
we're good. It's been real, everybody.
If you don't comment
We'll see
how
you
you
next
Coke
week.
freestyle, are you even listening?
Stay tuned for another episode. Appreciate you all.
Of the theme park, guys.
Bye-bye.
It's been real. Bye-bye. Coke freestyle.